Amara, please, keep it down. No, I am unhappy, angry, and frustrated. Am I alone in this? Where are your emotions? Where is your heart? My heart is with you. It's been with you for years. I don't feel it, Jared. I haven't felt you in a long time, Amara cried. I am here, Amara. Jared reached for her, but she swatted his hand away. Jared tightened his jaw. What was that? He asked, his face turning red. I don't want you to touch me right now. She backed up. She was beside herself with emotion. One moment you're screaming. You don't feel me. Then I reach for you, and you push me away. I can do no right with you. Amara wakes up to the faint hum of the ceiling fan. She lies in bed beside their 14-year-old daughter, who is still sound asleep. The bed feels cramped, the air heavy with the weight of the tension between her and Jared. She glances over at her daughter's peaceful face. Then she shifts her gaze to the ceiling, tracing the cracks in the paint. The silence of the house settles around her, thick with all the unspoken words hanging between them. Jared's footsteps echo down the hall as he passes by the room and heads to their bedroom. He enters the room with a cup of coffee, a feeble attempt at routine. He smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Morning, he offers. His voice carries a hope that Amara refuses to acknowledge. She nods, forcing a polite acknowledgement, but doesn't take the coffee. Jared lingers, waiting, but the silence that follows says more than words could. Finally, he turns away, carrying the coffee back with him and a bitter taste settling in his chest. Amara forces herself up, letting her legs hang off the end of the twin bed. She rubs her temples aggressively, trying to ward off the headache that had returned from last night's tense conversation with Jared. Nye, get up. You're going to be late for school, babe, Amara said, rubbing Naya's back to help her wake up. Naya, who was still partially asleep, turned to face her mom. Gotcha, she said, rubbing her eyes, her manicured nails pulling at a loose lash hanging freely. Did you have a ride? Amara asked, hoping she didn't have to drive her herself. Dad didn't tell you? He's taking me today because he wants to talk. He's so awkward, Mom. Amara snickered in response to her daughter's claims. Naya was right, but as his co-parent, she knew she had to remain half of his united front. So she concealed her amusement the best she could. Don't talk about your dad like that, Naya. He is trying. Then why are you still sleeping in here with me? It's too complicated for a 14-year-old to understand. I do have a couple of friends with boyfriends. I see this all the time. Once the fighting starts, it always leads to a breakup. Not really that complicated. Naya, please, Amara pleaded as she rubbed her temples again. Just thinking about it sent her head ringing. I just want to see you happy, Mom. You've been crying yourself to sleep every night. Dad's coming in here with cold-ass coffee just to find reasons to talk to you. Things are so weird around here. Naya, Amara snapped. Just get ready for school, please. Naya paused and looked at her mom with a hurt expression. She and Amara had always been able to talk about anything, but Amara had been living in denial lately, so there was no way she could discuss it with Naya, not until she faced the truth herself. Once Naya had processed her mom's frustration, she snatched the covers off and ran into her bathroom, slamming the door behind her and starting her shower. Once it was time for Jared to take Naya to school, he stopped at the door and looked Amara in the eyes. I love you, he stated as he did every morning for the last 19 years. He wanted her to say it back, but for the last 2 years, she hadn't. She just shook her head, tucked her lips, and replied, Noted. He reached to brush a piece of hair out of her face, rubbed her cheek, and walked away with a defeated look on his face. Time for Amara to head to work. For the third time that week, she was late. Thank God she was upper management. She went through her workload quickly so no one would notice she hadn't arrived on time. She walked around the office, checking on her team and socializing. Work was always so easy. It felt like a break from the dysfunction and tension that awaited her at home. As always, the workday breezed by effortlessly. Amara began packing her belongings to prepare for her return home. Her day went so well that she forgot about the dinner her mom invited herself to. Her mom refused to let her forget, calling her just as she got ready to leave the office, reminding her about the dinner they planned for that night. She started feeling the stress of her mom's unsolicited opinion creep into her head, and just like that, her mood was shot. But she went and grabbed dinner, picked up Naya from school, and headed home to prepare for the night. The laughter of Amara's family echoed through the living room. Once the pleasant conversation fades, her mother's sharp tongue finds its moment, as it always does. Jared, you still working on those projects of yours? Must be nice, she remarks, her words laced with sarcasm as she twirls the wine in her glass. Jared swallows hard, keeping his eyes on his plate. He doesn't flinch, doesn't argue, he just sits there. Amara watches him, waiting for him to defend himself, for him to defend them. But he doesn't. He shifts in his seat, that same old habit of discomfort, and she feels the familiar sting of disappointment settle deep in her chest. She exhaled, setting down her wine glass with careful precision. Mom, let's not do this tonight. Her mother waves a dismissive hand. I'm just saying, a man should lead, shouldn't he? Make sure his wife doesn't have to carry it all. Mom, that's enough, Amara snaps, raising her hand in warning. Her mother scoffs, shaking her head. Naya has grown up watching her mother excel while her father bounces between penny and hour jobs. What kind of example is that for my granddaughter? Jared stares at the table, his fingers gripping the edge of his plate. The words sit there, unchallenged, digging into his skin. Maybe your marriage wouldn't be falling apart if you actually supported the women in your home, she presses. For a split second, his face hardens, his jaw clenches like he might actually say something, do something. But he catches himself. He exhales through his nose, presses his lips together, and picks up his fork. Takes a bite of his food, chews, swallows, like nothing happened. Naya, who has been silent up until now, quickly jumps in. Grandma, come look at the songs I wrote in music class. She tugs at her grandmother's hand, guiding her away, dissolving the tension with forced enthusiasm. Amara leans against the sink, watching Jared as he absently pokes at his plate. God, Jared. Her voice is quiet, but sharp. Don't you have any fight left in you? He exhales, rubbing his temples, exhausted beyond words. I know she had a lot to drink, he says, waving it off like a pesky mosquito. I used to love that about you. I used to think it was patient, but she shakes her head, disgust flashing in her eyes. Be a man for once, Jared. She was talking about our family. Speak up, Amara admits, voice thick with disappointment. Jared just sits there, still, quiet. Inside, though, he's furious. He can feel it clawing at his ribs, tightening his throat, demanding to be let out. But instead, he lets the words sit between them, unchallenged. Amara's stomach tightened, and yet another thread loosened. During her lunch break at work, Amara listens to her colleague recount her recent divorce, a story of rediscovered freedom and self-worth. Best decision I ever made, the woman laughs, swirling her coffee. I thought I'd be lost without him, but it turns out I was already lost with him. Leaving was just me finding my way back. Amara thought back to Naya's words to her. I just want to see you happy, Mom. This pushes her to talk to her coworker about her decision. How did you know it was over? She asked hesitantly. Honestly, there were many signs, but my final decision was made after my children started being home less because of the tension. My unhappiness was something I could grin and bear, but seeing my children so unhappy was the last straw. Amara smiled nervously and thanked her coworker for the advice. It's not the loss that lingers with Amara, but the realization of the courage it must have taken her coworker to walk away. For the first time, she wonders if she should do the same. That night, she lies awake, staring at the ceiling again. She glances over at Naya sleeping peacefully in the twin bed next to her. The only reason she stayed so long was to keep Naya's life as it had been. She wanted her daughter to have stability, but knowing the tension could affect her, or even her outlook on love, made her reconsider her decision to stick through this tense phase of their marriage. Jared was a good guy. He had not made any big, unforgivable mistakes. Their marriage had been exactly what she wanted up until 2 years ago, and she couldn't even understand the shift. Amara wanted more. Jared was never a passionate guy, despite his career as a writer. Their fights were damn near one-sided. Amara screamed and yelled, begging him to give her something more, but he always just sat there clueless, asking what more she needed. Amara was exhausted of trying to get Jared to show emotion. She couldn't imagine doing this for the rest of her life. At that moment, she hears Jared walk by the room. He sits at the door, staring at Amara. "Good night, honey," he says awkwardly, expecting her to reciprocate, but she just turns and faces the other side of the room. Amara's resentment was pushing her out the door more than Jared knew. Jared sits alone in his car, running his finger over an old anniversary card. The words "forever" and "always" are etched in Amara's delicate handwriting, and regret gnaws at him. He remembers the promises he made and wonders where they went wrong. He spent every night trying to pinpoint the moment it all started to unravel. There wasn't a big dramatic moment that led to the disconnect between him and his love. It felt as if they just started to drift apart gradually. First to go was the "I love yous." They used to say it in the morning when waking, on the phone during the day, once they got back to the house together, while making love, and before going to bed. Times when he'd awake to Amara whispering, "I love you," in the night as she watched him sleep. It gave him such comfort and peace to hear in the still of the night. Next was the affection. He'd reach for her in the night and she coldly refused his touch. A stark shift from the loving woman who met his touch with a passionate kiss. These days, he was lucky if he could get her to look at him. Now, they don't even sleep together. Amara was sharing a room with Anaya. She said she needed space one night after making love. Jared had no idea what had led to it. He didn't want her to leave their marital bed, but if she felt she needed space, who was he to deny her of it? They never spoke unless it was about the bills or Naya. Every now and then, they would have a tense argument where Amara begged for more, but she could never be clear on what more he needed to do. "Where is the passion?" she would ask, tears in her eyes, and he would always reply, "Babe, I love you so much. I just want you to be happy again." Which only led to her crying more. He was exhausted and just wanted to know how to get back to when they were happy. These days, it felt like he could do no right for Amara, Naya, or Amara's crazy mother. He picks up his phone to call her, but stops short. What could he say that would undo years of distance? He chooses to scroll old photos instead. A young Amara laughing in the sun. Her smile used to be so easy, so free. When did it change? When did she change? With a sigh, he tucks the card back into his glove compartment box. But the thought lingers. Maybe it's not too late. Maybe he can still fix it. "I can't do this anymore." Amara's voice trembles, but her resolve stands firm. She doesn't look away this time. She needs him to see her. Jared pleads, his voice cracking under the weight of desperation. He lists every reason why they should try again, but Amara's heart remains unmoved. "I wanted a partner, Jared. Someone who shows up. I feel like you're a shell of the man I thought I was marrying." "Keep your voice down. Naya is in the other room." Amara chuckled out of frustration as she rubbed her forehead. That headache was returning. Jared never wanted to argue, fight, or even bicker. Naya was an excuse he pulled from his ass whenever he realized it was going to get heated. "Jared, this is what couples do. They argue, yell, and express their frustrations out loud. It's how resolve is reached." "Amara, please, keep it down." "No, I am unhappy, angry, and frustrated. Am I alone in this? Where are your emotions? Where is your heart?" "My heart is with you. It's been with you for years." "I don't feel it, Jared. I haven't felt you in a long time," Amara cried. "I am here, Amara." Jared reached for her, but she swatted his hand away. Jared tightened his jaw. "What was that?" he asked, his face turning red. "I don't want you to touch me right now." She backed up. She was beside herself with emotion. "One moment you're screaming. You don't feel me. Then I reach for you. and you push me away. I can do no right with you," he said calmly, but his anger was ever present. Amara stood still. She wasn't used to seeing him like this. "It's like you hate me for no apparent reason. You ask and I give, but I cannot give you happiness, Amara. You have to do that for yourself." "I never asked for anything other than what I am owed as the woman you say you love." "Then act like the woman I fell in love with," he screamed at the top of his lungs, releasing years of anger and frustration. It felt like it was always about her feelings, but he had feelings too. "Oh, please, when have you ever acknowledged the love I gave?" she shot back. "Well, there has been nothing given to be acknowledged. Yet, and still, I bring you lunch. I say my goodnights to the wall, it seems. I offer cold coffee to the door, and you could care less. I am trying to be the man you say you want, and it seems you don't want it as bad as you exclaim." "Maybe you're just not the man I want it from," she replied coldly. "What does that mean?" He pushed her into saying it, dared her to. It would be the only thing that made sense. Maybe she had an affair with a man who was a better lover, more romantic, and she lost her luster for Jared. He just wanted to hear the reason, any reason, for why she hated him. He was starting to feel unworthy. "This is the first time you've shown any kind of passion in years, and it's anger directed towards me. So maybe you're not capable of being the man I want because you're not the man I need." "What are you trying to tell me?" "I am telling you that we are unraveling as if our love was a rug, and now it's just a pile of threads, worthless threads that could never be reused." "Don't speak like that. I can't do this anymore, Jared. I am going to file." For the last 2 years, he watched the fire in her eyes die slowly. It was torture. The woman he loved was locked deep inside of this angry woman who refused to fight for their love. But he was losing his fight too. He yearned for her love, and in that moment, he realized it might never come back. He raised his hands and surrendered, walking back into his room, where he buried his head in his book all night. Jared stands in the doorway of their bedroom, watching Amara pack a small suitcase. His fingers tighten around the door frame, knuckles white. Is this really it? She exhales sharply, zipping the suitcase. "I need space, Jared." He steps inside, closing the distance between them. Space for what? To breathe? To think? Or to leave me? Amara's hands tremble as she grips the suitcase handle. "I don't know." "Bullshit." Jared's voice is raw, the mask of composure slipping. "You do know. You've already decided." She swallows hard, forcing herself to meet his gaze. "What do you want me to say? That I don't love you anymore? That I can't keep pretending?" Jared clenches his jaw, his throat bobbing as he swallows. "Then don't pretend. Fight. Stay and fight for us." Amara shakes her head. "I've been fighting, Jared. I'm exhausted." A beat of silence stretches between them. Then, Jared steps closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "Do you still feel anything for me?" Her eyes glisten, and for a second, she hesitates. "I feel..." She exhales, closing her eyes, tired. Jared inhales sharply as if her words have gutted him. That's not an answer. She lifts the suitcase and moves toward the door. Jared doesn't stop her. He just watches, hands clenched at his sides. As Amara steps outside, the cool night air hits her skin. She places the suitcase in the trunk, slides into the driver's seat, and grips the wheel, willing herself not to cry. Her phone buzzes. Jared's name lights up the screen. She hesitates, then reads the message. Her face got hot, fingers trembling. She locks her phone. Then, as if drawn by an unforeseen force, she lifts her gaze to the house. Jared is standing in the doorway, silhouetted by the porch light, but it's his eyes that stop her breath. His dark, intense stare is filled with something she hadn't seen in years. A fire. The fire he had the day they met. The vulnerability of a man who craves being wanted, the need to be needed by her. A rush of memories of laughter, whispered secrets in the dark. The way he used to look at her like she was his whole world floods her chest, stilling her resolve. Her fingers tighten around the steering wheel. She should drive away, but she can't move.
back, but I can't. I wanna leave you behind, but I can't. It's not easy to love you, darling. It's not easy to love you, darling. I should love you in the moment. I should tell you all the problems. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love